Cam Newton has gone viral again. The great NFL star quarterback appeared with Dr. Bryant. I don't know if y'all know this sister, but she is a therapist. She is compelling. She is brilliant. She's super interesting. I wasn't super aware of her until recently, but she's been reading people they write. And it was so interesting to watch her give Cam Newton a very thorough breakdown of himself and his choices. In particular, Cam Newton was talking about his desire maybe to have more kids. For context, Cam Newton got 8 kids by 3 women, and he's saying he wants more kids, but he doesn't think he wants marriage. Here's what the exchange, he just watch it for yourself.
People see my situation and not think that I'm not high functioning.
What situation?
See my situation? That's a very vague question, and it's for you
what
to
What situation are you referring to that they're looking at and thinking is not high functioning?
Just my life.
Your life entirely, or your life in relationships?
My life.
See, don't deflect. Let's stay here. Your life entirely, or your life in relationships?
Both, really.
And they think that you're low functioning?
No, I don't.
You just said people see your life and think you're not high functioning. The opposite of that would be low functioning.
No. Okay, so here you go. You're trying to take my intentions away from this. Can I correct it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Or can I give you more?
Yes, more information. Heck yeah.
So I'm not married, right? I have beautiful children.
How many?
8.
I didn't do my research. I thought it was 4, but 8. Okay.
No, baby.
Cool.
It's
by how
8.
many women?
3. And this is the kicker. I want more. Now.
By multiple women? What's the intent?
I just want God
by your wife?
Him. I just want God to bring him.
Oh, okay. And you have, so you just.
Because my point is this. My desire to get married is lower than my fear of divorce. So, as you had said, Dr. Bryant, you said it, I didn't say it, I will agree. I'm just taking my time.
You're not taking your time.
I am, though.
You're being very action-based. You're not taking your time. You're being very action-based.
I'm taking my time.
You're being very action-based. You have 8 kids with 3 different women.
Yes.
You are creating, procreating, and multiplying. That is not taking your time. You're being very selectively active. Okay? So you're creating, in disclaimer, the kids are innocent. They are beautiful and amazing. Anything I say has nothing to do with them babies, because I can't wait to be a mom, and I love the kids, period. But you are proactively choosing where you want to be active at and where you want to take your time. You want to take your time in having a wife because of your own fears. But you will, and I say this with all respect and love, what I'm about to say next, okay, Cam? But you will selfishly create broken families, even if you're in their life and you're a proactive father, and I believe you're an amazing daddy. I can only imagine with just your presence and knowing you thus far. But these families are still broken. Every child cannot have Papa in the house with them. So some child, if not all will end up with some kind of deficit without daddy being there. Now, you chose to do that. I'm not saying you sat there and woke up one morning and said, I want to be selfish today, so I'm going to go make a baby. Not saying that at all. But those are selfish acts at the expense of your fear. So at what point do you feel the fear, do it anyways? And yeah, that is a low functioning behavior. To say that I am going to create these homes. Let me go better. I'm going to build these houses and put kids and these beautiful women and kids in them, but I ain't going to create a home in them. I'm going to wait till I dissipate my fear to find a wife where I'm still going to be fearful with, because there's no such thing as not having some type of nerve or some type of feeling behind marrying somebody who you're spending your life with. And then I'm going to build a home with her while all these other beautiful babies have houses. That's completely unfair and it's selfish.
Just tell me when I can solve.
Yeah, almost. That's completely unfair and that's selfish. And so, yes, you're taking your time in this department, but you're not taking your time in this department, which means you're compartmentalizing. And compartmentalizing never works. Compartmentalizing hurts everybody involved. Everybody who's in this box and that box and this box and that box and this box. And then here you go over here trying to figure out what box you're going to feed or entertain or do. Then you're looking outside to figure out who's your next victim to put in the box. It's unhealthy. And it's a huge dysfunction within our Black community that I truly believe personally, statistically, mental health wise, and community wise, that Black men will stop.
Black men will what?
Stop. stop doing that, that they would stop that dysfunctional behavior of compartmentalizing and creating houses, not homes, and then finally a home with the wife. And then you have all these other houses that are homeless, but you over here at some point when you do get a wife, if you do, I'm saying if that's what you want, you will, you'll get whatever you want. You're trying to create a home. Totally dysfunctional and extremely, that's the epitome of selfish.
So much there. First of all, this is one of the rare moments where I thought a public therapy session was helpful. It felt a lot less performative than normal. She was honest, she was direct, she was strong. She pulled him back when he tried to deflect and when he tried to make a game out of it. I appreciated this exchange for so many reasons. I don't agree with everything she said, and I'll talk about that, but I appreciated her having the commitment to calling him out. First, when he says, I have these 8 kids and, I want more. And, I just want God to bring them to me. As if babies just fall out the sky. You are too old and got too many damn kids to not understand how babies are made. Babies don't just fall out the sky. God don't just bring them to you. I'm not questioning your religious faith. I'm saying even if you are the most religious person in the world, you understand that with the exception, if you're Christian, with the exception of maybe one time in human history, babies don't just come to you without sex. So you're making choices. And he's not getting everybody pregnant. I mean, it might seem like it with 8 kids, but he's not getting everybody pregnant. He's making choices, as she said. And you have to make the choice that's best for you, but you also have to make choices that are best for everybody else. Now, she said you're creating all of these broken families. I don't accept that. I don't accept the idea that every family where mom and dad don't live together are broken. It's not true. I don't accept that every family that isn't married or every couple that's not married is broken. It's not true. I don't accept the fact that every father who's non-custodial is part of a broken family. Black men are very involved in their families. They're very involved with their children. Non-custodial fathers, Black non-custodial fathers, are the most involved with their children. We don't live in a hospital. We still take you to the game. We still eat with you. We still go to the school. We still do activities. I'm just picking examples here. Black men are very active. So I don't want to reinforce the narrative that somehow Black men in general are terrible fathers. That's not it at all. I think we need to dispel that myth. But she was talking about something else. She's talking about the fact that if you have 8 kids at the same damn time or near the same damn time, you can, in at least 3 different households, and maybe in 3 different cities, you can't possibly physically be in all those places unless you're going to put them on a commune, unless you're going to do it in a kind of co-parenting, co-wife, co-husband thing. There are countries and there are cultures that do that. But if you're talking about just you got 3 kids in Minnesota and 3 kids in Tampa Bay and 3 kids in Chicago, you can't possibly be present for everybody in the way that you need to. And the fact that you haven't been present in the way, again, not saying Cam's a bad father, he may be the father of the year, but the fact of the matter is you can't be in 2 places at one time. You can't be in 3 places at one time. And so if you're doing that and planning for more, maybe 5 more kids with 3 more people. So now you got 13 kids and 6 people. You can't be everywhere. And she's saying, don't act like this is just happening to you. Take ownership, take accountability and say, I am creating this situation. And the fact that he is creating this situation is a low functioning behavior. I think she's absolutely right about that. Again, a family isn't a family only when a man is in the house. A family isn't dysfunctional because a man isn't in the house. I'm not going to buy into that patriarchal logic either. There's lots of ways to have healthy, strong families. But if you are committing to parenting and then you commit to parenting 8 more times or 7 more times without a plan in place and without a model that's functional in place, it is an unhealthy behavior. It is a low functioning behavior. You can pretend that it's not. You can pretend that it's cool, but it's not. And I've been watching this on the internet for the last 3 years. I've been watching it with Nick Cannon. I've been watching it with Cam Newton. And Nick is a friend. I love Nick Cannon. But this idea, and again, being rich helps. It makes a lot of things. You can pride the jet on Thanksgiving and go to 5 different houses. You can bring everybody together for Christmas in Hawaii with 15 kids or whatever. But you still can't be emotionally available for everybody. You still can't be physically present for everybody. Not for everybody. But I've been watching people on the internet celebrate this and say, well, it's his choice, it's his life. Well, yeah, it is his choice, and it is his life. He has every legal right to do this. But we do make moral and ethical judgments about what's healthy. And as a community, because I'm only worried about Black people. As a community, we have to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to build healthy communities, healthy families, healthy children. And again, marriage ain't the solution. I'm not telling everybody they need to get married. I'm not telling anybody they need to get married. I'm not telling anybody they need to live with the mother or father of their child. I'm simply saying you can't have 13 of them. You can't have 8 of them at the same time and think you're being healthy. That's a different thing, and that don't work. So shout out to Dr. Bryant for calling out that behavior. I suspect if she kept talking and I kept listening, we'd find more disagreements because some of this stuff felt very traditional, conservative, patriarchal, respectability stuff. But some of it is just real. And as I get older and think about things differently, some of this stuff ain't about respectability. It ain't about white people. It ain't about Republicans. It's just about being healthy. But I do appreciate Cam Newton for speaking out. He told his truth. And more importantly, he listened when someone offered a pushback. He didn't dismiss her. He didn't disrespect her. He wasn't combative. He was a little childish at the moments, but that's just him being him. It was a very different kind of exchange than what I heard when she pushed back against Nick Cannon. Do we have that clip? Show that.
You and I in a heated scenario, I'm fleeing from the lack of control.
Okay.
Because when there is no control, there's chaos. And in that setting, if you on high, I'm on high, and I know that it can only bubble over because neither one of us have control of the moment or of our emotions.
Right.
It's only going to get worse. I only run when I'm like, you know what? I don't have control over this situation. Yeah. And as someone who likes control, I'll be back when I have control.
But okay, I love that. This is so good. What is control?
A song Janet Jackson put out in the 80s.
Right, exactly. You see?
Control.
See? Don't deflect. Bring it back here. Don't deflect. You see, he just fleeing. That's it, fleeing. Bring it back. Bring it back. You ain't fleeing. At the root of control, what is control? For one, it's an illusion. What is at the root of control?
Ego.
Okay, then that's fine. What is ego?
What
is ego? The root of ego is what?
It's protecting my vulnerabilities.
It's an insecure little boy. That's what the root of control is, because it's an illusion. Okay? Because when we control anything.
We're talking, no, it's not illusion when you yelling, I'm yelling.
No, we're talking about the control piece.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Neither one of us have control because our emotions are on high.
But you have two people who are at the peak of a mental health freaking breakdown, a mental health issue.
No control.
So again, the way that you gain control is by two things. You use two tools. You cannot shift or change anything about you unless you shift or change your experience. So as long as you keep fleeing,
that's why I'm shifting my ass out the door.
But that's what you've been doing. But that allows you to stay in abandonment. That allows you to
I'm comfortable with my abandonment.
Because you are in your dysfunctional norm that you've become comfortable with.
But it's worked. It's become a superpower.
But you've learned to survive in it. You're not thriving in that. That's not thriving. You're surviving in that.
Okay.
And so anytime you are surviving and not thriving, there is no cape. There is no superpower. There's no superpower in a lack of mental health. And there's no superpower.
But it's worked for me. Like you said, I mean, you
know why it
you
worked
read
for you?
me well.
You know why it worked for you?
Why?
You know why it worked for you? With all due respect, seriously, to all the women that you've encountered, ladies, I'm saying this. The reason why it's worked for you is because you have chosen and to prey on low-functioning women who don't have the emotional intelligence. No, I'm going there. Who will allow you to do that, Nick? And when I say allow, it's not a control thing. When I say allow, I'm not saying that she sits across you and says, this is what you won't do, you're crossing a boundary. Nick.
I disagree.
Yes.
This is why I disagree. I mean, one, because
why you gonna make sure, but you gotta go in protection mode too.
But I'm saying because you could say from the high, all the high value women that I've ever
I didn't say high
experienced.
value.
But okay, I'm giving compliments. But I'm just saying
wait a minute.
for the people who are even of them being, because first of all,
low functioning woman will allow you to function low with them. Nick, you could not function that low.
So this is
Nick,
everyone's low functioning at some point in their life.
You cannot function low with a woman of my functioning, not
See,
because
now
I'm superior. Not because I'm superior. Listen to me say this really quick. Not because I'm superior to any other woman, but because I do have leverage. I've been in my field for 17 years, so we get that. But I've done the work, meaning you won't have an opportunity to get hostile with me, and you may want to flee, but fleeing would not get you a payoff with me. Wait a minute.
I'm not the hostile individual.
But this is what that's my point. Did you hear what you just said? We said the same thing. You would never have the opportunity to get hostile with me.
Yeah, because I control myself.
Hold on. Okay.
I have full control of my, but in your sense, because that's what I'm saying, because even the only reason I say what I disagree, because at some point we've all been low functioning.
Yes.
And we have to accept that.
Yes.
So to label that is like, all right, well, at some point everybody's going to be in their low state. Everybody's going to be vulnerable. Everybody's going to feel empty.
But
everybody's going to yearn something.
Mental health,
and when it comes to relationships, the beauty of a great relationship is where I'm weak, you are strong. So therefore, I have dealt with some people that balance me and are equally yoked. And at times, have I been manipulative and prey on certain things? Yes, because I'm a man.
Right. And but not all men do that. We don't want to blanket
all
men.
And all I will take advantage.
Do not prey and manipulate. Not all men.
First of all humans prey and manipulate. But in a man in a relationship,
not in a preying way.
If I see that I can say, okay, I feel like I need this and this person has this, I'm going to do and say whatever I need to do to get that.
But Nick, again, law of attraction. We attract who we are despite of who we think we are. You used the word, you said women who are equally yoked to you.
Yeah.
Equally yoked comes in many different facets.
100%. Balance, if anything.
They have been equally yoked to your low functioning dysfunction that you have learnned to survive in.
Because I use my tools to because first of all, you're acting as if I'm entering every scenario with the full me, and we all, every time someone meets someone, you're meeting their representative. I know how to turn on the perfect man.
Depending on
so
the
therefore
person,
I may have manipulated a situation, and therefore, so it's to no discredit to anyone else.
I got you.
I've come into every situation. I can be God-fearing, celibate, the one that you want. I can tell you everything that you want in a man and show you that. I can open the doors, lay down the cloak, send the jet, do it all to be like, oh my goodness. Never. And then toxic Nick shows up, and you like, this motherfucker got me.
No, but
he done gave me the draws, and I ain't heard from him in 3 weeks.
What you said is perfect. No, what you said is perfect because you named all of the low-functioning, superficial things that a low-functioning woman would fall into.
Church,
women,
that ain't low-functioning.
Baby, any woman,
we going to see the Lord together.
Any woman or man,
or the mosque, wherever you want to go. I know them both.
Any person who's done the work, who gained a sense of self, who's worked on their pain pockets, who's worked on their trauma,
are still going to be vulnerable.
They're going to be vulnerable.
They're going to yearn. And late at night when you're sleeping alone, you're going to go, I wish I had a strong man to rub my back.
They're going to be imperfect, but that person would want a strong
I wanted you all to see the long version of this for a reason. One, it's just a fascinating dialogue and it's interesting contrast. And again, Nick wasn't disrespectful or adversarial, but he was in such a defense mode, in my opinion, that he couldn't fully receive the critique that she was offering. And again, you don't have to agree with everything she says. Also, one difference is also this was his show as opposed to, so it's a different platform. It's a different situation. But there's something super interesting about watching this exchange. And again, I don't believe that I have some superior identity. I don't have a better life. I'm not a better person. I'm not a better parent. I'm not a better partner than any of these guys. I'm not saying this from any moral or social or romantic high ground. I'm watching the deflection. I'm watching the pushback. I'm watching the refusal to recognize that we have toxic behaviors and that they need to be corrected. Even as we own some of them, the ownership of some of them just becomes an escape hatch, not to deal with the fundamental reasons, the insecurity she talked about, the little boy she talked about, the pain she talked about, the ego that he talked about. And so when I watched that right after watching Cam Newton, I'm like, well, at least with the Cam one, there was an opportunity to receive this. I don't know if Cam's going to listen. I don't know if he agrees with her ultimately, but he at least took in the full critique. I wish Nick had done that more and not pushed back so much that the sister didn't have an opportunity to fully articulate her point of view, which again, for me, is not shaming people. It's not going into some conservative mode of our families have to look a certain way. You have to have a certain number of kids. You have to have a certain number of this. You need to be married. None of that stuff. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we have to make healthy choices. And if we continue to choose people in our lives, not just romantic partners, I'm talking about business partners, friends, family, employees, whatever, who enable the worst parts of us, who reflect the worst parts of us, and who continue to nurture the worst parts of us, And so when I see Nick Cannon, you know, talk about having, I don't even know how many kids Nick has anymore. I've lost count. But I'm sure the internet will tell me really fast. 12, it is 12, okay. You know, when I see Nick with 12 and Cam with 8, and now we see 20 kids across a lot of people who are all in the same age bracket too. I mean, it's one thing if they're not 20 years apart. They're some of these kids are 13 months apart, 5 months apart, some are the same age. We're spreading ourselves thin, but we're also doing a certain kind of ego work, and we're also working out some untreated trauma that it's not clear what it is. And until we work that out, we're going to continue to create unhealthy situations for ourselves and these babies, these beautiful, wonderful, perfect babies. The problem is when you're famous and you do it, or when you surround yourself in a patriarchal cultural context, which is what social media allows for, on top of the fact that we're in a patriarchal society, it's easy to get reinforcement. Oh, he's building his tribe, he's creating his legacy, he's making more of him. And it becomes a kind of ego-driven or even narcissistic project rather than one that's about love or commitment or community or family even. And that scares the hell out of me. So shout out to Dr. Bryant for breaking this down. You know, let's get Dr. Bryant on the show. I don't want to break me down. I get nervous, man. I'm scared. But I would like to talk to her about the work she does and why she does it and how she does it, because I think that's important. And shout out to all the people out there who go to therapists, who talk to therapists, who make choices, who reflect on their choices, who try to heal every day, because we all broken, we all cracked, we all messed up, we all imperfect. I am at the top of the list of mugs who are imperfect and broken. So I am not better than anybody I'm talking about. I'm just saying we got work to do and we got to do it together.